I forgot to do my little trick of putting this in the refrigerator. Excuse me, freezer to chill it more than it was, but it'll do its job. Blood orange. Hi, and welcome to a brand new episode of Dylan Knows, episode 509, Strike 2. If you've been following the news, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So we'll talk a little bit about that today. We've also got some trailers, and we've got some production news because of the strikes. We also have some holiday news. What else? I have some science news, a lot of anniversaries, casting news, despite the fact that they're probably not going to be able to do a lot of stuff. Children, reviews. I saw Nimona. It's really, really good. We're going to review that real quick. Pedro Pascal. Samara Weaving, who is very nice. Disney stuff, Burger King, Barbie, Oppenheimer, Barbieheimer. That's actually be more next week. That's about that later. Harry Potter, Baldur's Gate, Napoleon, stuff like that. We got some fun stuff here. So let's just get started here because I got stuff I got to do. By the way, it is Sunday, the 16th of July. Next week is really the big week. Next week, we've got San Diego Comic-Con, and next week we have Barbieheimer, so that's going to be the big week next week. This week was just sort of in between 4th of July week and San Diego week and Barbieheimer week. So the big news, though, of course, is I don't know, about 3-4 months ago, the Writers Guild of America went on strike, meaning the writers of Hollywood TV shows and movies went on strike because of the whole AI stuff and the greed of the corporate people who run the companies they work for. And it's been going on for a while now. Then the Directors Guild came up, and they actually came to a deal with the corporations. It's a little bit different, I guess, way of doing things, I suppose. And then the Writers Guild, I'm not the writers, then SAG-AFTRA, Screen Actors Guild, and I'm not sure what AFTRA stands for, the actors, actresses union, said they were going to strike if their contract stuff stalled, and they went on strike. So this is the first time in, since 1980, when both the WGA and SAG-AFTRA were on strike at the same time. Both are now walking the picket lines. So that means everything is shutting down for the most part. There are some productions that are finishing up stuff that they don't need writers and actors for, so they're going to keep coming out. Stuff that's already been done that hasn't come out yet. The only way that's going to get affected by this is that the actors and actresses will not be able to promote their new shows and movies, stuff like when that stuff comes out, when it comes around for that stuff, till the strike is settled. So there's all kinds of stuff like that. I'm gonna say ignore this one because I have that someplace else. So last time, so I said last time this happened was in 1980, and the Screen Actors Guild president at the time was Ronald Reagan, who apparently was both the president of SAG and running for president of the United States at the time. And for those Republicans who hate unions and gun control, and you look upon Ronald Reagan as one of your lords, your Mount Rushmore Republicans, he was for gun control because he got shot, and one of his Secret Service agents or secretaries or whatever got which we call crippled, so they can't walk anymore because of this shooting. So he was pro-gun control. He was also pro-union since he was in a union. So Republicans are just dumbasses, stupid morons who don't know a goddamn thing. And I'm not going to go on that tangent anymore, so I'm just going to keep going like that. So that was the last time that happened. Fran Drescher is now the Screen Actors Guild president, and you can laugh at that, but she had a hell of a good speech when they went on strike. explaining exactly why they're doing what they're doing, and it was outstanding. So keep your little jokes to yourself. And she's not the only one. Ron Perlman played Hellboy, also made some not safe for work comments about the production people. He has since deleted that. I guess it was just too much, I suppose, but at least he got his feelings out there. So I do not see this going away anytime soon. Now, one of the biggest problems they had, or the writers and the actors have, is that the advent of the AI stuff, which still boggles my mind that I know it costs less money to do that, but it is absolutely insane to consider. Let's replace everything with AI stuff. That's just asking for trouble. But no one listens to me. Who cares? Who gives a fuck anyway? But one of the concessions that these film companies were willing to make for the writers and the actors and actresses is that, we will, pay a background actor one time and then scan their body and use their likeness for all eternity without paying them. And they thought that would appease the actors and actresses because they're stupid. Not the actors and actresses, the film companies, stuff like that. So obviously that's what really started all off. So that's going off that. So what's the spiraling effect of this? Well, first up, Deadpool 3 has stopped production. Mission Impossible 8 has stopped production. Beetlejuice 2 has stopped production. Any other movies that you can think of that are in the works right now have all stopped production. I think I have them around here somewhere, all the list of them and stuff like that. We'll get to them if I can find them again. The cast of Oppenheimer were doing their UK film premiere, dress, red carpet stuff. And they had said at the red carpet before they went into the movie, they said if they get word from the US that they're on strike, they will walk out of the movie. And sure enough, as soon as they went on strike, the actors involved in Oppenheimer who were watching the movie got up in the middle of the movie and walked out because that's what they're supposed to do. So that's spiraling there for that as well. UPS is also on the verge of going on strike also, which is a bit more problematic for me. Don't get me wrong, I'm for them getting what they want and they deserve to do whatever they do, but it's going to cause a lot of headaches at my job if they do, because UPS is our main carrier. So I don't know exactly what they're going to do or how we're going to do it. One thing I can think of is if UPS goes on strike, we might have to just start delivering stuff to FedEx, because we do have FedEx with them, but we don't have a big account with them. So our deal with them is very small, so we don't want to renegotiate the deal about this. I don't know what's going on with that. So we'll see if that actually does happen. And there's also Teamsters on strike someplace else. So there's lots of strikes going on. And it's just the appropriate time right now because right now everything is awful. People realize that there's no consequences. Rich people are getting emboldened because of that fucking moron president we had before President Biden, who just fucked us entirely and is still fucking us. And he's just fucking up everything. And it's pissing me the fuck off right now. So they're on strike also. So I swear to God, it seems like that, in 2012 when the rapture was supposed to happen, and then what follows after that is 100 years of darkness. I swear to God, I think the rapture actually did happen, and we're in the middle of 100 years of darkness right now because it's just been shitty. Maybe not since 2012, but for a long time. And it's really getting to me, and there really isn't any way around that, but we're going to go on about that. So the other thing is Disney is shutting down the casting for the Fantastic Four because, again, actors are not going to be available to audition. They're not going to, if they get cast, they're not going to be able to start working on the movie till they're done with the strike. And on top of that as well, if they are actors who have previous commitments, like say there was no strike, actor they wanted for Reed Richards or for Invisible Woman or The Thing or Johnny Storm. They hired them. They might have one or two other projects they have to do before they start work on Fantastic Four. So they're contractually obligated to do those projects first. So if there was no strike, they'd be working on those projects right now. No big deal. Hey, we're going to be cast as Fantastic Four. That'll be our third project after all this stuff. But they have to do these first two projects first. And that's how casting works. Casting starts off and then they do pre-production. The film actually will not start probably filming for months after the casting of it. So that way the actors who have obligations can finish up their obligations and get ready and also prep themselves for the movie they're making. So if the strike does end, the backlog of productions that are going to need to get done are going to cause issues. So by that time, Disney might want Fantastic Four to be fast-tracked, but the actors that they wanted for the roles might not be able to do it because they have these other projects here. That's why they don't want to announce who the cast is, and they have to shut down the casting looks for that as well. So that's interesting as well. So I think that's all the stuff I have right now for strike stuff. There's more coming up. As we get down there. Let's look. Oh, Venom 3 has stopped filming due to the strike as well. That's another one that's up there too. And yeah, so that's that. So my son's going to be coming down with his laundry here soon. He's going to be doing some laundry. So there might be some noise in the background here. So let's look at before the strike happened, there were some behind the scenes photos that were released earlier this week of Hugh Jackman on the set of Deadpool 3 wearing the classic yellow and blue Wolverine costume. So that'll be something interesting to look at forward to. Hi, buddy. So that's kind of interesting. A gigantic marshmallow weighing more than a grand piano was created this week, I guess for a world record sort of thing. So it's like, how can a marshmallow weigh more than a grand piano? That doesn't make any sense. It's not dense enough to do that. I guess maybe it is to keep the solid form that it is, but still, damn. The first edition of The Hobbit by J.R. Tolkien sells for over £10,000 at auction over in UK, which seems to me a little light, but first editions, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't a good enough copy of it, or maybe it's just not as hugely popular or sought after as maybe some other books are as well. Now, while a lot of productions are shutting down due to the strike, there are some that are shutting down production because they are done. Doctor Who season 14 is one of those. So the first season with the new Dr. Gutty is finished. So we should be looking forward to seeing that very, very soon. I think the schedule they have listed as is they're going to have the 3 specials with Tennant in November for the 60th anniversary. Then they're going to have Christmas one, which I think is going to introduce Gutty to the world. And then it's going to be season 14. It's going to be sometime in 2024. It's going to do special effects and stuff like that right now. But it is done. Season 14 is finished filming. So that's good on that as well. So fantastic. All right, we'll talk about this on. Yeah. So San Diego Comic-Con is coming up. It's going to be lighter than usual because a lot of the big name stuff are not going to be going to San Diego this year. Variety of reasons, COVID, no desire to, the strikes, whatever. But one that is they're going to celebrate Red Sonja's anniversary. And we're going to get the first look at the trailer for the Red Sonja movie that'll be coming out probably sometime next year. So that should be kind of interesting to see that coming up. Also, next week we have Barbieheimer, as I've talked about before. AMC, one of the movie companies, the one we actually have one over that way, has sold 20,000. Actually, hold on. It's over that way, actually. AMC has sold over 20,000 double feature tickets for Barbie Oppenheimer. That's not just here. It's all across the country. So that's kind of amazing. And the fact that something like that took off as it did on the internet is absolutely outstanding. September 10th, 2023 sees the arrival of the Daryl Dixon spinoff show for Walking Dead on AMC, the TV show or TV station. So you guys looking forward to that? You can go ahead and do that. Disney is open to selling ABC and FX, but not ESPN and Hulu. No big surprise there because Bob Iger is destroying that company. We'll talk about Bob Iger a little later. One thing real quick is he put his foot in his mouth saying that the writers and actors and actors have unreasonable demands for the production companies for more money. And then we took a look at how much money they actually make. And it's just like, you're a fucking moron. Production companies, CEOs make billions of dollars. And these are just asking for a slight raise, a little extra money. You fucking piece of shit, Bob Iger, asshole. Okay. What else? That's it. Harry Potter Milk Chocolate Kisses and Bars are apparently out now. I guess they're just themed. I don't know if there's anything special with them, but they are from Hershey's. So it's Harry Potter sort of branded, I guess. Chocolates is that I don't think there's anything special about them. So just the branding on it as well. One of the most highly awaited winter movies finally released its first full trailer. Wonka's first full trailer came out this week, and it actually looks pretty decent. Be out around Christmas, I think. So it could be an entertaining film to check that out as well. This is kind of cool. On October 25th, Skybound, who is a comic company owned by Robert Kirkman, who created The Walking Dead and Invincible, is going to be producing Universal Monsters comics. Their first one will be out on 10/25, and it'll be Dracula, and it's going to be using, the typical Dracula, old school Universal Monster type Dracula. So I might actually have to pick that up when that comes out. So I think that's kind of cool. Keeping with the high holiday sort of stuff, Sugar Cookie Twix will be coming this Christmas. It's a new Twix with sugar cookie twist to it. So that should be interesting. Sugar cookie has been a flavor that's been out there for a while, which is kind of interesting because there's sugar cookie creamers that come out around Christmas time. And honestly, it doesn't taste like anything. If you put it in your coffee, there's like no taste to it. It's so weird. And also toasty vanilla M&Ms are coming in the fall. And that sounds amazing also. So we'll have to check those two out also. So the holidays are starting to ramp up here a little bit. Another one, Home Depot will be selling a 13-foot tall Jack Skellington blow-up sort of statue thing. You had the giant 13-foot skeleton last year. Now you're going to have the giant 13-foot Jack Skellington making its arrival as well. Also this week, we had Napoleon's first full trailer as well, the Ridley Scott movie starring Joaquin Phoenix. That, too, also looks decent and is due out in November, I believe, around Thanksgiving. So those are a couple movies I want to check out there. Killers of the Flower Moon is another one. So there's some good movies coming up. And then the Marvels, of course. So there's at least 4 movies I want to see in the movie theaters coming up here in the future. And there might be a few more that are rolling through that I just don't know about yet. I plan on doing like I did back in May. I plan on doing a fall winter movie preview for one of my other shows. So we'll get an idea of what else will be coming out here. Because these movies, again, will not be affected by the strike. The only way that's being affected is that the actors and actresses will not be able to promote their movies. So you won't be seeing interviews with them or stuff on social media about the movies. The movie's just going to be there. If the strike is not solved by the fall and winter, which Bob Iger and his myriad of assholes who are screwing over the Writers Guild and SAG-AFTRA are claiming that they don't want to, they want to wait out the strike until they run out of money. And then when they're desperate, then they can swoop in and get a better deal, which is very kind of a bad thing to say, don't you think? Unfortunately, we are still in summertime. Still gonna be summertime for at least 2 more months at least. So just gotta grin and bear it. This is a story that came out years ago, but I figured it was due for a reintroduction because since not a lot of people watch my show anyway, it's fun to redo stories that have come across my page here on Facebook that I've seen before. There's a bikini made out entirely of pizza. I'd love to eat that one off. I mean, what? But yes, there is a bikini that is made of real pizza, not fake. No, not fabric that looks like pizza. It's real pizza. And that doesn't make any sense because you try to go in the water, that shit's going to dissolve and it's going to be a big mess. And it's probably not going to stay solid on you for a while, which is good also because if it comes off and you're completely naked, cool. That's just me though. Also coming out this fall. Now, the big surprise, this is why I've sort of stepped away from comics now for a while. And I don't because of this, but because of the price. And I just don't read them anymore. I still like them, but I'm just not reading them anymore. But I keep tabs on stuff. But earlier, a couple months ago, they killed off Miss Marvel in that shitty Spider-Man comic that Zeb Wells or whatever the fuck his name is. He's destroying Spider-Man right now and is having one of the worst runs of Spider-Man ever. They decided they were going to kill off Miss Marvel, who is one of their only Muslim superheroes, which stinks of racism. That's what I said when I first heard about this. But because this is comics and the Marvels is coming out in November and they know that there are people that are going to like Miss Marvel, that they figured they should probably do something to, get a book out there so that people who go see the Marvels will want to see more about Miss Marvel, who want to see more about Miss Marvel, will be able to have a comic book to read. Henceforth, we now know that Miss Marvel will be recovering from her death, which is a weird thing to say, but in the comics world, that's the way it is. And a new comic will be coming out this fall, which would be co-written by Iman Vellani, who played Miss Marvel in the MCU TV show and also the Marvels, and television writer Sabir Persden. So that's good. And speaking of Miss Marvel, also I figured since it's a story that came through the line yesterday, this is actually an interesting way to look at things, and you can probably use this to your advantage. This hurts maybe the strike a little bit, but if you want to keep content going for people, ABC, who's owned by Disney, is going to air the Miss Marvel Disney Plus TV show over 2 weekends, or rather 2 days. I don't know if it's weekends, 2 Thursdays, I think, August 5th and August 12th, 3-hour blocks. You'll be able to watch the entirety of Miss Marvel's miniseries in 2 weeks on regular network TV. You don't need Disney Plus for that. This might be the next thing that, could come due to striking, because a lot of stuff that the originals that are on the streaming are not available on network. And since your actors are not going to be able to do their TV shows, stuff like that, this fall's TV season is going to be reality shows and repeats of old shows that everybody used to like, to take a look at. Hey, for 10th anniversary of Lost, we're going to re-air the whole first season. Here you go. So this might be something that might be of interest. If the strike keeps going on into the fall and you need some content, then why don't you move some of your content from Disney Plus or Paramount or Peacock or whatever and have them air on the network? I mean, it's, you're able to keep your viewers intact. It's stuff that people might not have seen before, and that also gives a chance to take a look at that if it becomes popular. There'll be onus enough for Disney to go, hey, you know what? This Miss Marvel did really well in its 2-week premiere. Maybe we should do a second season, and voila, there you go. So we're going to talk about that also because that's what Bob Iger's talking about. And I'm not going to talk about it until the end of the show. So that's kind of an interesting little thing to look at. So Miss Marvel will be back. Her comic will be written by the actress, co-written by the actress who plays her on the TV show and in the movies, and also by a TV screenwriter. So good, because they're going to still be able to do work because it's not connected to Hollywood. It's connected to the comic industry. I don't think the comic industry is unionized. So I don't think you're ever going to see that. It's more of a freelance sort of thing. So you're only as good as the company paying you. So if you do good writing and art and stuff like that, they're going to keep paying you and putting you on books. But if you price yourself out or whatever, you become too popular, then you're either going to have to create your own and go to Image or one of these other places, or we'll figure that out later. One of my favorite movies from the 1980s was on my 500 movie list I did last month. Clue. We get word this week that Clue actually had a potential 4th ending. For those who don't remember, the movie Clue came out in 1985, had 3 endings that were random at movie theaters, and that was kind of a good little gimmick that tried to get people to go to movie theaters. Didn't work. But then when they released it on video and DVD, stuff like that, they had all 3 endings on it, so you could see how all 3 endings were. But there is apparently was potentially a 4th ending that got cut. I don't think it got filmed. I think they were just discussing it, that potential for a 4th one. And both Tim Curry, who acted in it, and Jonathan Lynn, who directed it, both decided it's not such a good idea. They were going to have it where Tim Curry's butler did actually kill everybody. And that makes no sense because he was front and center for the whole movie, and there really would have been no way for him to be able to kill half of the people being the front and center of the movie. So it makes sense, but it was interesting that there was a talk of a 4th potential ending that had the butler do the entire killing, and the typical cliche sort of thing. I'm kind of glad they decided not to go with it because the movie is better for what it is. So what else we got? Baldur's Gate 3, a video game, will let you treat your companions terribly, including biting off limbs. So you're going to play with somebody, or I guess it's an NPC or whatever, and you can throw stuff at them, you can blow them up, you can bite their arms off, bite your leg off. Kind of interesting. So there's that. Anchor, the first and oldest craft brewery in the United States to shut down after 127 years old. I found that weird because I thought Yuengling was the first brewery in the country, but what do I know? But it is shutting down. A metal singer apologizes for urinating on a fan's face at a concert. I guess when you're a metal, you should expect that to happen to you at one of their concerts, but in the end, it's still kind of disgusting. A couple, this is one of the stupidest stories of the week. A couple threatens to call the police because their cat is going into the neighbor's yard. I think their whole point is they're blaming the neighbors for enticing their cat to go to their yard. So they're going to call the police on the neighbors for enticing their cat to go into their neighbor's yard. This world is fucking shit show. People are fucking idiots. My God, how stupid are you? Jesus Christ. A holographic ring, not like, a hologram sort of thing, but it's one of those things where you've seen it's a ring that inside the rock there is a carved face or whatever, was discovered in ancient Rome. So that's kind of interesting that they had that sort of creativity in ancient Rome that had those rings. You see those sort of holographic things all the time now, but it's kind of neat to find out that it has been around for quite a long time. And we have proof of it. The Japanese love their Pokemon. So Japanese Baskin Robbins is getting a Pikachu Sprigatito ice cream combo. So Sprigatito, I guess, is one of the new Pokemon from the new Scarlet Violet. It's like a greenish sort of cat-like sort of Pokemon, and you have the typical Pikachu, who's sort of yellow. The ice cream is sort of a mix of those two yellow and green colors. It's collab, it's ice cream. It's probably going to taste good. Don't know what it'd taste like, lemon or lime maybe, or whatever, don't know. But there you go. Anniversaries. A Fish Called Wanda, 35 years ago this week. That's John Cleese, Michael Palin, Jamie Lee Curtis, Kevin Kline. Kevin Kline won the Oscar for that. It's a dark comedy. It's interesting, but not one of my favorite movies. True Lies was 29 years ago this week. That's James Cameron's spy epic with Jamie Lee Curtis again, and Arnold Schwarzenegger and young Elijah Dushku, who played Faith in the Buffy series. And also Tom Arnold, who actually plays a pretty okay role in this movie, actually does pretty good. Cameron's able to get kind of these weird actors to really do good jobs. Like Chris Elliott in The Abyss was really, really good, but he's not known for that sort of thing. And now Tom Arnold in True Lies as well. And Bill Paxton's in it as well. Gotta love that too. There's Something About Mary, 25 years ago this week. Cameron Diaz, Ben Stiller. That's just a bizarre film that I find hugely overrated. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but that's just me. The Last Starfighter came out 41 years ago this week, which is kind of interesting. I found something new about this. Now, Last Starfighter was one of those movies I used to watch all the time on cable, because when I had cable, when it first came out in the early 80s, my dad got HBO. So HBO had to fill their time slots with movies. So you would see like Last Starfighter would air like at 8 a.m., 2 p.m., and 10 p.m., 3 times during the day. So you could catch it at certain times and watch it over and over again if you wanted to. And I enjoyed Last Starfighter. It was a great 1980s film about a video game that appears in like a small little hole in the wall town in I guess the Pacific Northwest. And a guy becomes really, really proficient at it. And he gets visited by Robert Preston, who was the Music Man, who says that he has been chosen to be a hero to fight against a alien threat to his planet's, not Earth's planets, Robert Preston's planet's life, because Robert Preston is an alien. So he kidnaps the guy and puts a doppelganger in his place, who is a complete and utter moron who ends up like destroying his life. Meanwhile, this guy from Earth has to, and the video game is similar to the controls of the spaceship are the same as a video game. So they want someone who's proficient at it, who'd be able to control the spaceship. So it goes to war in this space war. It's a very entertaining film. And I discovered this week, this is like the first time that I really thought about it. Nick Castle directed it. Do you know who Nick Castle is? In case you don't, there was a small little movie, one of my favorite movies all time, again in my top 500. Last Starfighter wasn't, it probably should have been, but one of my top 500 movies of all time, one of my favorite, actually it was in my top 50, I think, one of my favorite holiday movies, Halloween. He played Michael Myers. Nick Castle was the Shape, except for the one time where they took his mask off and it was somebody else underneath. If you go to Netflix, they have a Movies That Made Us. I wish they'd make a new season of that. They only have 3 seasons, and that's all they've shown. The last one they ever did was Halloween, and it is one of my favorite ones. And it's behind the scenes about how Halloween is made, and Nick Castle's front and center talking about all the stuff he did with it, and it's hilarious. He's hilarious, and I did not know that he directed that. He also directed a couple of other big films from the 80s and early 90s, which I was unaware of also. That's wild. I think I knew he had directed, Halloween 3 or something like that, but I was like, okay, that's all he did. No, he didn't. He did Last Starfighter, which is a pretty cool movie. Also coming out in 1984, this is in 85, but 1985, we have Explorers, which is Joe Dante's science fiction movie, which is really an underrated movie. Ethan Hawke, young Ethan Hawke, like maybe his first film he ever did, maybe. And River Phoenix playing a brain instead of a tough guy, actually, which is kind of funny, appears in this movie. And it's Joe Dante. And the premise is Ethan Hawke has a dream about all these sort of design stuff like that, and he gets his friend River Phoenix to decipher them, and they build this sort of anti-gravity sort of thing, and they build a spaceship, and they're able to fly around, and they get sucked up into space and into a spaceship that is nearby, and they have to get their way around the spaceship. It's really, really kind of cool. Finally, this week in history, July 14th, 1881, Billy the Kid was shot dead. Now, the reason why I did shot dead is because there is rumors and conspiracy theorists out there that believe that Billy the Kid faked his death, did not actually die, and wanted to, get out of being the outlaw and get into a regular, get back to a regular sort of way of life. And the fact that an old mate of his was the one that finally killed him, who felt, that Billy the Kid had lost his way and had to hunt him down by himself to kill him, was the one that actually killed him, keeps it a little bit interesting. Now, Young Guns 2, which is, again, 2 underrated films, Young Guns 2, they were Westerns that came out in one was in the late 80s, one was early 90s, and it was the Brat Pack Western, but by that time, the Brat Pack had sort of outgrown their Brat Packness because they were getting a lot older. And it is 2 of the absolute fantastic Westerns you've ever seen out there. Young Guns 2 are outstanding. And Young Guns 2 focuses more on this Billy the Kid theory that he faked his death, because the movie starts with an old senile man talking to a reporter who's obviously, you can tell, is Emilio Estevez in old man makeup, and Emilio Estevez played Billy the Kid, telling the story about Billy the Kid's last ride. You're supposed to believe that this guy is Billy the Kid finally telling his story about faking his death. So it's a theory that's out there for a while, and I find it intriguing, to be honest. Faking your death can be easy, but it's also cannot. So we'll see. Death this week: Jimmy Weldon, voice actor for Hanna-Barbera's Yankee Doodle Duck, died at the age of 99 this week. And thankfully, this week there wasn't a lot of deaths. I think there's only 2 that I know of off the top of my head. Yep, only 2 this week. So I'll go ahead and do the other one. Manny Cotto, Emmy-winning 24 American Horror Story executive producer, died at the age of 62 this week. Those are the only 2 deaths that I'm aware of. There it is. Beetlejuice 2, Gladiator 2, Mortal Kombat 2, MI8, Venom 3, Deadpool 3, all shutting down production. We've already had all their stuff have already shut down. Daredevil had already shut down. Blade had already shut down. Stranger Things had already shut down. Stuff like that. So that's what's going on with that. Okay. Boom. Now, this is a show that is not affected by the strike because it is done and is just awaiting its arrival on Disney Plus. And we'll probably learn more about this at D23 in September. But Percy Jackson, the series based on the Percy Jackson series that Disney Plus has really hyped up for, released a new poster this week. So it's getting us hyped up for it. As I said, Disney's not doing anything in San Diego, so I think D23 would probably be the place where we're going to get the first trailer for Percy Jackson, and we're also probably going to get potentially the date when it's going to be arriving. Now, we know it's going to be 2024. Just don't know if it's going to be early, mid, or late. It would be odd if it was late because they finished filming beginning of this year. So we're 7 months into this year, and they finished filming like in February. So you would think that it takes about a year for post-production for special effects and stuff like that. You'd figure a January, February opening would be good. But at the same time, it wouldn't be beyond a reasonable doubt or possibility that they move it down to summertime or May, June, sort of summertime area. But to move it down to like in October or November of 2024, a year and almost 2 years after they finished doing it, and the strikes have nothing to do with that. They're done everything. So they're just doing this visual effects and the editing and cutting it up into, 6, 8, 10 episodes, whatever it's going to be. And so I find it odd that it probably will not be in fall of 2024. I would assume we're probably going to see it within the first quarter, potentially second quarter of 2024. So we'll see. As I said, I won't know till D23. That's my prediction because if the strike is still going on, they're not going to really have much to announce because they're not going to be able to announce a Fantastic Four cast. They're not going to do any trailers for any other movies. They might be able to do some of the stuff like the Coven of Chaos, which has finished their stuff. Echo could get a trailer in there as well. We can get some other stuff in there because that's all stuff that's done by Disney and stuff like that. So we can see that at D23, but it would make sense to have as your highlighted event thing, which is coming and is done. The only thing the actors won't be able to promote it unless they get the strikes settled by the time they decide to open it, is the trailer for Percy Jackson and how many episodes it's going to be and when it's coming out. So we'll see if that's the case. As usual, I'll do my D23 show in September. I always do. So we'll see what happens. Philip Rivers, here's some sports ball talk. Philip Rivers and his wife announced they are expecting their 10th child. 10 children. 10 children. What the fuck? 10 children. I mean, the joke now is like he's trying to build his own football team. What the fuck, man? I mean, I guess you're rich enough you can survive that, but damn, 10 children? Damn. The world's tiniest McDonald's is in Sweden, but it's for bees only. So it's just really like a model of McDonald's, and the bees are allowed in there, and there's no McDonald's food or anything in there. But I just thought that was kind of funny. They showed a picture of it. It was kind of neat. Ahsoka trailer came out. Speaking of Disney stuff, Ahsoka trailer came out, the last big one before the show started. The show starts August 23rd, and it's going to start with 2 episodes. So the new trailer really digs into the Rebels thing. We get better views of Thrawn. So, they're trying to start build excitement for Ahsoka now. So that, again, is going to be out on time, except, the cast will not be able to promote it unless, of course, the strike is settled within a month, which is not going to happen. I'm sorry, folks. This is going into the fall. I'm telling you that right now. I'm calling it right now. This is probably not going to get fixed until early 2024, to be honest. So we'll see. Maybe the holidays, maybe there'll be some sort of holiday spirit. We'll see. Because you figure most strikes last about 3 months. That puts us into October. So we'll see. Some more sports ball. I figure since I got it here, the Baltimore Orioles, my baseball team, they are doing really well. They've got a 7-game winning streak going on right now. They're playing presently right now. Let's see. It's been about an hour since they started. What's the score? And the Orioles are up 3-0, bottom of 3rd inning. They've got a no-hitter going. Good going, Kyle Bradish. Keep it going, man. They're doing phenomenal. They came out of the gate of the All-Star game on fire, so that's really good. And it's potential that we could see fall baseball from them, which would be amazing. So it's going to get excited. Speaking of that, also, Ravens football training camp begins July 28th, so that's a couple weeks from now. But still, we got a lot of sports stuff rolling up. But the Orioles, they Major League Baseball released the schedule for next year. They do it the halfway mark of the previous season. So 2023 halfway mark just happened, and they announced the 2024 schedule. For the first time in like 4 or 5 years, the Baltimore Orioles will be having their home opener the same day as opening day of baseball. They haven't done that for 4 to 5 years. They're a good team now. So obviously it's a team that they're going to want to look on, give them a chance to have a home thing. And something that's not so great is I have a running joke that I like the Orioles. My birthday is June 20th, so it's right smack dab during baseball season, and it just seems like they're never at home on my birthday. The last time they were at home, I went to the game. It was like 4 or 5 years ago. My wife took me to the game on my birthday and got my name up on the scoreboard. We were their young kids, so they wanted to leave early. So we hadn't seen it yet. My wife was panicking a little bit, but just as we were leaving, they came up. And I saw my name up on the board. Didn't get a chance to get a picture of it, but that was kind of cool, though. But they haven't played on my birthday. That was like the last time. That was like 4 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, that they played on my birthday. And they're not playing on my birthday next year either. Next year, they're playing in New York. Last year, they were playing in Cincinnati or Cleveland or something like that. They either have off or they're away. It could be. There was one time, this is the funny thing. There was a homestand. It was like a 3-game homestand, day off, another 3-game homestand. It was like, what the fuck, man? You're at home. Couldn't you have scheduled like a team nearby you, like the Nationals or the Yankees or the Phillies or the Pirates or whatever, to come down here and play on my birthday? So I have to wait till 2025 now to see if they're going to play on my birthday, which I'm not holding my breath on. Morons. The last few years they have played on my birthday, but just away. I would make the assumption that on 2025 they're going to be a day off on my birthday, just because I'm a cynic. So Frankenstein. Oh, here's actually before we do that, Art Modell, another sports ball thing. Art Modell is a semifinalist again in the Hall of Fame vote. There were 60 semifinalists now. They're going to narrow it down to 25. Then they're going to vote on that down to get the finals. But Art Modell hasn't been a finalist for a couple of years now. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, not because he brought football to Baltimore. That's one reason why, but because he is a huge force in the NFL. He was the one who helped push Monday Night Football. He was one of the ones that reached out to the Baltimore Colts when they left, the marching band, and had them come play in Cleveland to keep them, funded and have them money so that they can do something so they don't shut down, because he enjoyed listening to the band. And he's done a lot for helping players out, and just in general was a good guy, was a good person in the community in Cleveland and in Baltimore before he passed away. The only reason why he isn't in the Hall of Fame is because of the fucking Cleveland media assholes who are still pissed that he moved the Browns and they were without a football team for 3 fucking years. Guess what? We were without a football team for 13 fucking years, you assholes. And you're bitching about 3 years. The NFL bent over backwards to get you a fucking football team. They gave a rat's ass about Baltimore when the expansion came in 1994. They're like, we're not going to give anything to you fucking Baltimore, you piece of shit. Use that money for a museum that we had set up for that. It was an insult, and is still an insult, because Baltimore is still considered to be a shit place by the commissioner of the NFL. He can go fuck himself, and most of the other owners in the NFL can go fuck themselves also, because they don't like Baltimore. But they can eat shit and die. But they're still pissed about that. So the Cleveland media guy is one of the only ones that is refusing to vote for him to get into the Hall of Fame. Now, I have a theory about that, and I think that because the Cleveland Browns are one of the shittiest teams in the NFL right now, ever since they came back into the league, they haven't won a Super Bowl in their entire history, even when they were considered one of the Grand Dames. They won championships, but they never won the Super Bowl. They never played in a Super Bowl, as far as I know. And then when they got their new team and they were being shitty and not letting Art Modell in, they've had shitty seasons. They've had over seasons. They've had shitty coaches. They've had shitty players. Their franchise quarterback is a sex offender who deserves to be in fucking prison right now instead of playing and making a shit ton of money in the NFL. They are a shit community. They are a shit football team. They are shit fans. And they are the shittiest shits. That's why they're called the fucking Browns. And they are snake bit. They try to do this. They try to do that. They get this. They get that. And they think, oh, this is the year we're going to make the Super Bowl or the playoffs. They make the playoffs and they win a game and they lose and they don't make it to the Super Bowl. Or, they have, snake bit and stuff happens or whatever. And then, they just are a shitty team run by a shitty owner, shitty general manager. They're shit. And the reason why I believe this is because Art Modell belongs in the Hall of Fame. And everybody knows he belongs in the Hall of Fame. The NFL gods know he belongs in the NFL. And until Cleveland decides to let him in, they're going to treat the Cleveland Browns like shit, as they absolutely should. Now, I want to put this to a test. Why don't you let Art Modell into the Hall of Fame this year and see if your stuff turns around? If it does, guess what? That was what was holding you down. If it doesn't, well, you are a shit team to begin with anyway. Rant over. But here's hoping that Art Modell makes it here because he deserves it. Not because he brought a team to Baltimore, but because of everything else he's done for the NFL since he's been in the NFL since the 1960s, okay? So, get over yourselves, man. What the hell? Oh, I don't know what the fuck this is. Ambergris? Do you know what it is? It's supposedly called liquid gold. Floaty gold, as what it's called here. I guess it's some sort of product or whatever, but a huge chunk of ambergris, known as floaty gold, was found in the stomach of a whale that killed a dead whale. And it's worth $500,000. I don't even know what the fuck ambergris is. Let me see if I can look that up real quick. Because I saw that and I was like, what the fuck is ambergris? Ambergris, or gray amber, is a solid, waxy, flammable substance of a dull gray or blackish color produced in the digestive system of sperm. I think it's sperm whales. of sperm whales. Freshly produced ambergris has a marine fecal odor. It acquires a sweet, earthy scent as it ages, commonly likened to the fragrance of isopropyl alcohol without the vaporous chemical astringency. Ambergris has been highly valued by perfume makers as a fixative that allows the scent to endure much longer, although it has been mostly replaced by synthetic ambroxide. Dogs are attracted to the smell of ambergris and are sometimes used by ambergris searchers. So apparently it's something that was formed in a sperm whale, I guess, that they called floaty gold, and it's worth $500,000, a waxy sort of scent thing used in perfume. I'm not sure, but that's what it states. So I just found that kind of interesting that it was found in the body of a whale, which makes sense if it's whale sperm. It's not whale sperm, it's sperm whale. It's made in a sperm whale. I don't know if this is the dead whale was a sperm whale or not. I'm not sure, but there it is. Harley Quinn season 4 teaser was up for Max, and we have Harley Quinn flashing the screen, so you show that they have not lost their way. It's a great cartoon, by the way, and fantastic to watch it. So Yellowstone, I guess, I don't know. I looked at it briefly. I don't know if Fritos has a Yellowstone edition of their corn chips. And I don't know if it's connected to the Yellowstone TV show or the Yellowstone, because last year was Yellowstone's 150th anniversary, not this year. And that's the only difference. There's no special flavors. It's Fritos Yellowstone edition, but it's the same Fritos. And it's a chili cheese one also has that as well, has the packaging. It's just different packaging. It's not like, Fritos, buffalo flavored Fritos or something like that, or wolf flavored Fritos or whatever the fuck is in Yellowstone. Or if it's based on a TV show, I don't know, maybe there's some special food that they eat on. I don't know because I don't watch the show. But this is just packaging. And I find that kind of odd that they're doing that, but okay. Godzilla -1 trailer. Toho, the Japanese film company that makes Godzilla movies, has a new one coming out December 1st. It's called Godzilla -1. So it is not connected to the American versions. Those are completely different. The new Kong versus Godzilla 2 is coming out next year. That has nothing to do with Toho's Godzilla -1. But the trailer for that came out this week. And it's due out December 1st. Twisted Metal, the TV show based on the video game coming to Peacock, had its first full trailer as well. And you get Anthony Mackie, you get Neve Campbell, you get Stephanie Beatrice, which are all phenomenal actors and actresses that are in this show. And it looks like it's a huge lot of fun. It looks like, Anthony Mackie is the hero, but he's the guy that is the worst hero in the world. And you've got, Neve Campbell and Stephanie Beatrice doing the things that they do. So that's outstanding. It looks fun. It looks like a lot of fun. Fortunately, I will not be watching because it's on Peacock, and I refuse to get Peacock. But there we go. Netflix has done this for a while now. They've divided full seasons of their original shows into 2 parts. Last year, they did the Stranger Things Part 1 and Part 2 of Season 4, which I guess they say that the Duffer Brothers are the ones that sort of floated that out to them, but Netflix still does this a lot. And they're doing it now again. Witcher Season 3, which just came out, was actually just a Part 1. Part 2 is due out later this year or later this month, I think August maybe. And the first trailer for that came out, and Lincoln Lawyer Season 2 Part 2 also has a trailer reveal for that, also probably coming out in August. So they both came out either early July, and you have to wait now a month to see the second part of it. But okay, so that's what we're doing then. This is a film that sort of flew under the radar. I had no idea this film even existed, but it's Ben Kingsley as this old man who lives by himself, and the trailer starts with him going to one of these like local community meetings, whatever, and he's talking about how this needs to be done and the road needs to be clean, whatever. And he said, "Oh yeah, by the way, I have an ET in my house." And they think of him as some sort of senile old man, and they laugh at him. And he goes home, and we see that there was a UFO that crashed in his backyard, and there's actually an alien living in his house. Humanoid alien, not the one like the one in ET, but it looks like it's like a cute family film called Jules. And it looks interesting. And Again, flew under the radar, did not know much about it, and here we are. Pickle air freshener. I don't like pickles, but for those who like pickles, you can have an air freshener that smells like pickles. Gen V trailer, which is the Boys spinoff, was released this week. I could give rat's ass about the Boys, so all I know is that some sort of college-based spinoff of the Boys, so more pushing the envelope sort of bullshit. Whatever. Fast and Furious roller coaster is coming to Universal Studios Hollywood. So there you go. An alien planet was discovered with metallic clouds, which resembles a giant mirror in space. So the clouds are actually metal, and when they are over the planet, it reflects the sunlight out like a mirror does. Alien, the TV series, will be filming in Thailand if they solve the strikes here. Frankenstein seems to be the new sort of big thing now. There was a Frankenstein-esque movie coming out with not Amy Adams, but the one who played Gwen Stacy, who was dating Andrew Garfield for the longest time. I always get her mixed up. Amazing Spider-Man. Not the video game. I want the movie. No, I want the movie. Amazing. Oh, you know what? It'd be easier just to do La La Land. La Land is Emma Stone. That's who it is. That's right. Emma Stone has this sort of weird, bizarre sort of Frankenstein movie sort of coming out. It's not Frankenstein, but it's similar to Frankenstein. Apparently, Guillermo del Toro is doing a Frankenstein movie as well. The no-hitter is done. Oh, well. But the Orioles dropped 3-0. And then there's the modern update of it where a young black girl creates her own monster to get revenge on people who are mean to her. And then you have Birth, Rebirth, which is another movie that I did not know about. It's a independent film, which is a modern Frankenstein tale about a woman who works in a morgue, who a young girl is brought in who's dead, and she takes the body out of the hospital and back to her apartment. And the mother of the dead daughter follows her and discovers her daughter is being used in an experiment to bring her back from the dead. The woman has been successful with dogs, and now it's time to do it with humans. And so the whole thing takes off from there. So that's what that is. So Frankenstein seems to be the new big hip monster thing to do now. It's weird how these sort of trends come and go. But this one is there. It's up there, and got ways to go. So this one might be a long one then. Nice. So there we go. Panda twins were born in South Korea for the first time ever. So that's a good sign. Marry My Dead Body trailer coming out August 10th. It's a Korean movie. It looks like a comedy horror action film about a male policeman who discovers a strange envelope at a crime scene, picks it up, and then discovers that he is now married to the ghost of the person whose death he's investigating, and that was the envelope was his soul or whatever. And so the two of them, they're married officially. Yes, it's weird, but that's what it is. It's a marriage license sort of thing. And the two of them have to go and solve the case of his murder. So it's definitely a unique idea. Could be kind of interesting, and it is, as I said, it is a Korean film, so it'll be in Korean with subtitles, but they tend to do very well on Netflix anyway. So it's coming out August 10th. Cameron Monaghan has joined Tron Ares, so once that movie gets up and running, he'll be working in that as well. In Listowel, Ireland, 1,100 people dressed up as Dolly Parton for a Dolly Parton lookalike contest. A geologist found the oldest water on Earth and decided to taste it. I wouldn't. Hope they're okay. The retirement plan trailer, Nicolas Cage action comedy coming out on August 25th. Typical Nicolas Cage sort of shenanigans. So what do you got there? Continuing our talk about the strike, Sarah Silverman is suing Meta and OpenAI for copyright infringement, I guess, of herself. So that could be a huge victory if she can win that case in court. Grilled, which is a hamburger joint I don't know much about, has dropped a new line of Barbie burgers. As you're going to hear also, Burger King is also going to bring out a Think Pink burger and Ken French fries for the Barbie movie response for that as well. And where's that other one? I know it's here somewhere. There's one more burger thing that I want to cover here. Just got to find it. I guess maybe I will not be able to find it. I know it's here somewhere. I'm going to look for just a little while longer, and there we go. Oh, there it is. Burger King themed real cheeseburger. 20 slices of American cheese with no meat is in the works right now. So it's just a literal cheeseburger. Okay. Before the strike happened, James Gunn was working on his Superman movie, and it's sort of been delayed now also. But he has announced the casting last week. He announced who his Superman and Lois are. This week, he gives a better idea of what's going to be on. This is going to be sort of similar to Marvel. You're going to have other heroes from the DC universe making their way into the movie. In this case, Nathan Fillion, who is one of Gunn's regulars, will be playing Guy Gardner, which is great because Guy Gardner is a Green Lantern from Baltimore, and he will be playing the Green Lantern throughout the DCU movies once they get back up and running. Anthony Carrigan will be playing Metamorpho. Isabella Merced will be playing Hawkgirl. And Edie Gathega will be playing Mr. Terrific in Gunn's Superman Legacy. All these characters will be appearing in Superman Legacy. And the fact that you have a Metamorpho and a Mr. Terrific means that they might be creating a Terrific's superhero team. Those are half the members right there. So we'll see if that's going to come up right with that. So that's good. So you're going to see those superheroes in the new Superman movie, which is give us an idea of kind of how things is going to go. So earlier this week, I had a bizarre dream where I dreamt that I had died at work, and then I floated out of my body, saw the people coming to come look at my body. I floated out of my body, and then I zoomed back in. I was back at work again, but it felt like it was in a different multiverse, a different dimension or whatever. It was still the same for the most part. And it was like I had never left, but I had dropped dead at work, saw myself as people were surrounding me, and then landed back into life. And so I just thought that's just some weird kind of dream. Then literally about a day later on Facebook, this story pops up about quantum immortality. It's a theory that when you die, you don't actually die. Your spirit gets transported to the next available multiverse, which is similar to yours, meaning you won't be going to a multiverse where you're a hugely popular movie star or whatever. You'll be going to the same multiverse where maybe you took a left instead of a right, going to the bathroom or something like that. Because there is infinite amounts of multiverse things, because every little thing you do creates a multiverse. Like I just moved my hand to this way. What if just that second ago I moved my hand this way? So see what I'm kind of doing. It's like I'm creating all these different multi-universes where I'm doing this, stuff like that. Took these off. They might have broken, and my other thing, lens fell out, the light bulb explodes. But that's the only difference. So that's what quantum immortality things, which then leads me to believe is that if that's the case, have I actually maybe died multiple times and just have kept living because of this quantum immortality? It's an interesting idea to think about. It's weird. And the fact that I dreamt about it and literally the next day there was a story about it is also very odd. But I digress. Just create another multiverse. There was one where I didn't change the page. Now I just changed the page. Anniversaries. X-Men, the original X-Men movie, 23 years ago this week. Sharknado celebrates 10 years this week. Sharknado was a huge thing for the Snark Alex. 10 years ago, I started this show. We were doing all kinds of Sharknado stuff around that time, and it was one of the things that kept us at Snark Alex. So here we are 10 years later, and it was a huge part of our Snark Alex group. So that's a 10 years anniversary this week. Sci-Fi is showing all the Sharknado movies on repeat this weekend. The James Webb telescope is 1 year old this week. Ghost with Patrick Swayze is 33 years old this week. That's all the anniversaries for this page. I got a page and a half here, and then we're going to be out here. So we're looking probably about an hour and 30 minutes that we're going to do this. I should be done by about 3:15, 3:20-ish. Anthony Michael Hall has become a dad at the age of 55. I don't know if he's ever had become a dad before that, but he became a dad this week at the age of 55. New trailer for a movie called Corner Office starring John Hamm and a dystopian sort of corporate fever dream sort of thing comes out August 4th. Judy Greer also appears in a new trailer called Apria, where she bends time to save her husband. Major League Cricket debuted July 13th, and I haven't heard a goddamn thing about it, so I guess it didn't do as well as people were thinking. The TARDIS was painted pink to promote the Barbie movie in England, because I think Goody's actually in the movie as well, who's the new Doctor. I think he's in it as well, so I think they did that. A 32-legged octopus was photographed. It is a weird, bizarre. It was on the window of a submarine or something like that. It was 32 fucking legs on an octopus. It was insane, which goes to show you that there's all kinds of creatures down below you don't know about. Thunderbolts has a new comic book series coming out soon, and the at least half of the cast members in the comic are going to be in the upcoming movie. It's supposed to be out next year, but with the strike, who knows if that's actually going to happen, because they stopped filming also. But they are creating this comic so that, you know, they have at least half of the characters in the comic will be in the movie. So people who want to go after seeing the movie, get the comic, will be able to pick up the comic. That's just what they've been doing since comic movies have been huge. DC and Marvel have been doing this. They've been shifting their characters to look more and more like their MCU counterparts, so that people who see the movie and have never been to a comic book shop, go to a comic book shop, hey, I want to see more about this, and boom, they go and get the stuff. So I just want to chug that down. Everybody knows about the Hallmark channel and their obsession with Christmas movies. Well, they're taking that obsession to the next level, and they're creating a Christmas cruise, probably filled with cast members from their most favorite Hallmark Christmas movies, and it'll probably be like all Christmas-oriented sort of stuff. So that's actually, no matter what you think about that, it's probably a brilliant idea, because people are obsessed with the Hallmark Christmas stuff. So, of course, they're going to want to live through that sort of thing. Oh, a animated prequel film to The Wheel of Time is in production. The actual Wheel of Time live action show on Amazon is set to debut season 2 on September 1st. So they're going to be not affected by the writer's strike, because they're going to be debuting September 1st. And Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power season 2 also has finished production before the strike. So that is on target to hit its date probably sometime next year. So we'll see about that. Speaking of Lord of the Rings, this is probably the greatest news of the week that got me really thinking about stuff. Maybe not the greatest news of the week, but I think it's really kind of cool. Dominic Monaghan and Billy Boyd, who played Merry and Pippin in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and they spent a lot of time together for over 3-4 years, took to film the movies, and they became really good friends and are still really good friends. They do like a podcast together and stuff like that. They have decided that they're going to star in a stage version of one of the greatest, funniest plays I've ever seen, written by Tom Stoppard, called Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. And it's going to be in Toronto in March of 2024. So I kind of want to go to Toronto in March of 2024 when it's going to be fucking snowing and freezing and ice to see those two do Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, because I think that's going to be an outstanding show. They are probably the best actors to do the show since Tim Roth and Gary Oldman did the movie version of it. It is a fantastic play. It's set in the middle of Hamlet. So you get both versions of them, their characters that are in Hamlet. And so they appear in scenes, they perform their scenes that they're in from Hamlet. And then once they do that in the Shakespearean English, and once they leave that scene and you see them, walk away, you follow them instead of sticking with the Hamlet stuff. And then they start talking like normal people. It's an outstanding idea to have these two actors do this particular play. It sucks that it's going to be in Toronto in the middle of winter in March of 2024. To be continued, because I really want to see this. I think it'd be outstanding because it is such a great play. It is. And these two are just going to kill it. And it's killing me. The new Transformers Beast movie that just came out is set to debut on Blu-ray October 10th. It's going to come to digital. I think it's already out in digital now. Actually, it was this week, I think. A silver medal featuring a winged Medusa was discovered at a Roman fort near Hadrian's Wall. That's another Roman artifact that's been discovered this week. And the fact that Medusa had wings is intriguing enough that I did not think she's supposed to be half snake, half woman, but not have wings. So that's kind of an intriguing sort of take on things. Nanas, Vince Vaughn to star in a film based on a true story about a restaurant run by grandmothers. Yes, it's called Nanas. The Black Panther video game is in the works from EA Studios. You have EA Sports. This is EA Studios. Ding dongs and Twinkies are mashing themselves up together to create basically chocolate-covered Twinkies for the most part. That's what it is, but it's going to be circular like the ding dongs, but the Twinkies are going to be in the middle with the chocolate ding dong covering. So that's basically what it is. Lips Like Sugar, Owen Wilson and Woody Harrelson to star in a crime thriller set in 1984. Again, after the writer's strike, blah, blah, blah. Samuel L. Jackson has the most top-grossing movies in history. I think I saw a reel where Denzel Washington was reading off the total. It was like $130 billion worth of box office and movies that Samuel L. Jackson's been in. But considering he was in some of the biggest movies of all time, the Star Wars prequels, Pulp Fiction, all the Quentin Tarantino movies have done pretty good for him. All the Marvel movies where he played Nick Fury. He was in Avengers. Avengers, one of the biggest movies of all time, Endgame, he was in that as well. And he might have only been for a few scenes, but, it still counts. Coming to America was one of his first movies he ever did. So Snakes on a Plane, stuff like that. So he's been in and he's the type of guy that, just pops up, the Incredibles movies, he was the voices in that. So it makes perfect sense. Some guy that he's like the Michael Caine and Gene Hackman of the current times. Because, the whole joke about them is in the 80s and 70s, Gene Hackman and Michael Caine were like in every movie. So they have Samuel L. Jackson. Michael Mann's Ferrari film is set to debut this holiday season. People thought it wasn't going to come out till 2024. Instead, it's been moved up to the holiday season, so that's good for that. Poliwag Community Day comes on July 30th. Whoopee, I'm so excited, as you can tell. Hello Kitty just fulfilled an unintentional South Park prophecy. Back in the early 2000s, when South Park was pretty much like at its height, they did an episode about the World of Warcraft, and they were talking to Butters about joining their clan to face off against the guy who was killing them in the World of Warcraft. And he said, I don't play video games except for Hello Kitty's Island Adventure, which was a joke at the time because, Butters is kind of an effeminate sort of, young babyish sort of type. That'd be the type of game he would like. Well, at the time, no game existed. That game exists now. Some 20 years after that joke hit, we're finally going to get that game. So it has finally paid off. Obviously, it's set up that way that the people who made the video game probably have heard that, probably seen that episode of South Park, and it probably said, we'll just call it this, and just had that little nice fun callback to it. This week, we've had two other people behaving badly. Jonah Hill, his ex-girlfriend, who's a surfer, accuses him of emotionally abusing her with a number of rules that she had to follow for them to be together. And most people are torn across this because, he was telling her that these are my boundaries, that I don't want you because I have low self-esteem, blah, blah, blah. But he was basically telling them you can't be around other men. You can't wear skimpy outfits, even though you're a surfer, because you're with me. And I'm afraid you're going to leave me, sort of thing. Sure, in retrospect, that's what he's afraid of, but you cannot tell people what to do. Like, my wife is out with a friend of hers at a winery. She came and said, is it okay if I go out with my friend at the winery? I was like, you don't have to ask my permission. You do whatever the hell you want, because that's how it works. You don't lay ground rules. You can tell them, I'm a little anxious about that, but you don't say you can't do this or we're done. You can't do that. And it is emotional abuse. So that was a kind of thing. And a disgraced sports doctor, Larry Nassar, who was convicted of sexually abusing female gymnasts, which is a piece of shit thing to do, was stabbed in prison, where he's been in for a while. Again, Schadenfreude, you have that the Schadenfreude thing's been making its appearance now. But when you're sexually abusing women and screwing them over and giving them, horrible, memories and stuff like that, when something bad happens to you, you're going to have people who are going to cheer about it. It just makes it might not sound right, but it kind of is, Anniversaries: Point Break, 32 years ago this week. Escape from New York, 42 years ago this week. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, 9 years ago this week. Contact, 26 years ago this week. Lethal Weapon 4, 25 years ago this week. Small Soldiers, another Joe Dante movie, 25 years ago this week. And Universal Soldier, 31 years ago this week. And Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, 38 years ago this week. Don't have a lot of other anniversaries. Blow through these anniversaries here real quick. Inception was 13 years ago this week. Lake Placid, 24 years ago this week. Eyes Wide Shut, also 24 years ago this week. And Stranger Things Season 1 debuted 7 years ago this week. So that's all the anniversaries for this week. All the deaths I've taken care of. So now I just got a bunch of little stories here. The Acolyte, the new Star Wars TV show that's being, I guess they finished that one also, so that's not going to be affected by the strike, says it's going to have the most Jedis than any Star Wars project in history, so that's pretty cool. The Emmy Awards, Emmy nominations were announced this week, and Pedro Pascal received 3 first-time Emmy Awards, which means he probably got like a Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, and like one other one probably like that. And they're all the first time he's ever been nominated in all those things. That's pretty cool. Samara Weaving is going to join, once the strike's over, the 20th Century Fox thriller Eeny Meeny. Some new trailers. The Adults trailer with Michael Cera. Didn't watch it because I'm not interested in it, but you might be. Painkiller trailer coming out August 10th from Netflix. Is about the opioid crisis. And Physical Season 2 with Rose Byrne is coming out 8/2 on Apple TV Plus. All those trailers came out this week as well. Man built an in real life Minecraft pig, which he calls Hamburgini. So it's like a riding pig thing, whose top speed is up to 20 miles per hour. That's kind of interesting as well. Earth's crust is dripping like honey into its interior under the Andes, which means that the Earth is getting much warmer. Groomsman Llama steals the show at a wedding. He was wearing a cute tux and looked like a person when you first look at him. So that's kind of interesting. Zombie Verse is a Netflix reality show about surviving a zombie apocalypse. So basically you have actors who are portraying zombies, attacking reality show people and how they would react to fighting off zombies. So they're really getting into the reality show thing, which is kind of a disappointing sort of thing, but that's all right. Elemental keeps rolling. A lot of people were saying that they were cheering for Pixar's latest film to fail at the box office, and it had a decent opening, but it didn't have fantastic. Everybody's like, see, Disney sucks, blah blah blah. Disney can fuck up because they hate Disney. Elemental's like, fuck you guys. They just made an additional $30 million. They have a worldwide total of $251.9 million, which is the highest grossing Pixar film since COVID start, and it will be passing Encanto, which was a huge surprise hit, probably later this week. So the fact that Elemental is making a good amount of money here, sort of puts what Bob Iger says, as I'm going to tell you about in a little bit, to shame, which goes to show you that people are willing to bring Pixar back to life. So they were, after the last couple of years where you could only see Pixar movies on Disney Plus, and then when they started releasing them in theaters, they tanked. Now they're starting to show legs depending on the movie. So this could just be the beginning for Pixar to make a recovery. So all you assholes who said that Pixar and Disney sucks and are dead and they have no good movies, this one is surprising the hell out of everybody. So congratulations to you, Elemental. I'm very happy for you. India's Chandrayaan-3 moon lander mission launched on Friday. It's India's second attempt to land a rover at the moon. I think the first one ended with it crashing and burning or whatever. It's going to be landing at the moon's south pole. Now, instead of going direct like what NASA does, all that, going from the Earth to the moon, this is going to take a little bit longer time to get there because I don't know for sure, but I guess India's technological stuff is not up to NASA standards, but they have enough that they can make a rocket go into orbit. So what they're going to do is they're going to have the rocket orbit the Earth numerous times and then take the launch up and get faster, and then taking a launch to the moon that way. So instead of like 4 days, 3 to 4 days, like it takes for most rockets to go from the Earth to the moon, it's going to take about 2 to 3 months, just because they're going to be orbiting the Earth faster and faster. And they're just going to say, okay, launch, boom, and they're going to get out there in like a day or two probably. So hopefully that'll work. It's always good to see those types of things happen about that. Netflix released the movie Nimona, an animated movie based on a graphic novel that I showed my daughter, written by a person named Noelle. And it was supposed to be a Disney movie, but there is a lot of gay and lesbian sort of action in there as well. Not action, because that sounds like it's a porno. It's not. But there is lesbian and gay characters in it, and Disney was too shocked because I like Disney, but some of their beliefs are just shitty, and so they passed on it. Netflix snapped it up and did another really great animated film. They do some really good animated films. Watched with my daughter because she wanted to watch it really badly, so I got to watch it with her last night on her brief layover at home. She's back up at camp again this week. And it was very enjoyable. It was a lot of fun. It takes place in sort of a medieval sort of town that has modern technology as well, and a commoner who has scratched and crawled to become one of the top tier knights of the land, one of the top tier people, despite everybody hating him and being racist towards him and stuff like that, made it to the top because the queen believed in him. And unfortunately, when he is given his sword by the queen, something shoots out of it and kills the queen, which makes him look like he tried to kill the queen. And so he's on the run, and he ends up getting saved by a shape-shifting woman by the name of Nimona, who herself is getting racially prejudiced against because she's considered a monster because of her shape-changing abilities. So the two of them create a team to try to cause as much chaos as they can, but also solve the crime of who planted the weapon on him and set him up to kill the queen. It's a lot deeper than you think it might be. It has a lot of class issues, racist issues that overplay it. And it's also fun. It's a lot of fun, and it's very well animated, and the characters are very interesting. And it keeps you guessing to figure out who the culprit actually is, and then they take it one step further. It's really kind of interesting, and it is a lovely film. And highly recommend Nimona. So definitely check that out if you want. It's a quick, breezy hour, 42 minutes long. So it's not going to take up your whole day. I mean, if you start watching it now, you'd be done by 4:50. You know, that's like nothing. You'll be done before 5 o'clock if you start watching it this second. So not bad at all. So definitely worth a check out. I think you should check it out. I think you're going to like it. Unless you hate gay and lesbian stuff, and then you're just a racist piece of shit. But the gay stuff is minimal, but it's there, and it's fine. It deserves to be there because it's a story that needed to be told, because the creator is gay themselves. So worth it, absolutely worth it. It's fantastic. It's doing bonzo on Netflix. It was third the first week it came out as the third most watched show on Netflix, which is outstanding. Or watch show, movie, whatever you want to call it. So the third most watched item on Netflix. So it's outstanding. Check it out. Nimona is really good. Still not as good as Klaus. Klaus is still my absolute favorite, but it's up there. It's really, really good. Nimona is fantastic. And again, it's a much deeper animated film than you might be expecting, but it is a lot of fun too. Finally, let's talk about Bob Iger. I've been dropping his name all week. He's the guy who's executive at Disney right now, who made some stupid comments that the writers and actors are asking too much, that they don't deserve as much as they are asking for. And this guy is making billions of dollars doing nothing but being a CEO and just saying, oh, I like that, I don't like that, blah, 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 blah. Well, he made a really stupid comment that keeps irking me about this. He says that the reason that the Marvel movies have been doing badly at the box office is due to the oversaturation of the Disney TV shows, the Disney Plus Marvel TV shows that they've done. And that's also why the ratings haven't been maybe as good for the last few Disney Plus TV shows, because they think people are just or it's too much or blah, blah, blah. And I just had to bang my head against the wall about that. And then the funny thing is, someone wrote an article which exactly had everything in my head that I wanted to say to him and just put it out there. It was from Comic Book Resources, which is amazing because they are on Zack Snyder's dick so much that it's hard to believe that they would like anything else. But they were actually saying they were protecting Marvel and said, you are a complete and utter moron, Bob Iger, because Guardians of the Galaxy did extraordinarily well. Ant-Man 3 didn't do too well because which is a shame because it is actually a really good movie. Didn't do as well because people are more accustomed to wait or are willing to wait 30, 60, 90 days before it comes on to Disney Plus. They're already paid for the Disney Plus subscription service. And going to the movie theaters is extraordinarily expensive now. For a family of four with popcorn and soda and all this stuff, you look at $120+, if not more than that, for a night out to see a 2-hour movie, which you can see on Netflix in about 90 days for just the cost of your yearly subscription to Disney Plus. And yeah, you're not watching it right away, but when it comes out, on Disney Plus, you're the first person there to pop in there. You can pause it. You can put closed captioning on it. You can get your own snacks and food. You can pause it to take bathroom breaks. You can talk about it. You can discuss it. And it's not, and you're not leaving your house to get up. There's still people who are afraid of COVID, which is their right to be. And there's people who don't want to go to the movies because people still talk and are on their phones all the time with the movies. And it's expensive. And to get up and go to the movie theaters, it's a pain in the ass. And I don't go to every movie that's out there, but there are some that I want to go see in movie theaters. But I understand that. So there are people who are buying subscriptions to Disney Plus, which goes to your pocket, Bob Iger, by the way, who are willing to wait for the movie to come onto Disney Plus 30, 60, 90 days later because they don't want to go to the movie theaters because it's extraordinarily expensive for the price of their annual fee or whatever, they can watch it on their own time whenever they want to, with their own snacks in the comfort of their own house, closed captioning, bathroom breaks, pause it, fast forward, rewind it. You can do all that, whatever. You can do all that stuff. And that in turn helps out because then you know that people are going to be buying the subscription service, which is another stream of money for you to get it. People are so obsessed with box office numbers nowadays that it's and box office reviews that it's stupid, how stupid it is. So I believe that, it's actually doing what it's supposed to, that it's, getting people to buy the subscription because they don't want to wait, don't want to go to the movie theaters and see the movie. They want to wait for it to come out on Disney Plus, and they're willing to wait for it to come out on Disney Plus so they can see it at their own leisure. So not forced to watch it within a certain period of time. Maybe something's going on in the first 2 or 3 weeks that the movie is out in movie theaters that they can't go and do something or whatever. And then they get freed up and they can watch it whenever they want to, and the quality of the shows just might be either you're not promoting it too well, or maybe the story just wasn't, what people were looking for, or maybe you need to change up some stuff maybe here and there. But honestly, I'm a Marvel fan. I'm a huge Marvel fan, and I'm excited about the stuff, and I'm willing to keep watching this stuff, and I'll go see them in the movie theaters like I did. But to say that, it's the TV show's fault that more people aren't going to the movie theaters is stupid, because you can only see that stuff on Disney Plus, the app, and people are going to want to see that stuff, and they're going to buy the app so they can see that stuff. That's the whole point of why you did Disney Plus. When you first announced it, you said, we'll be doing these Marvel shows and Star Wars shows, stuff like that. You will not be able to see anywhere else except here. And people went crazy and they bought it, and they did, and they're still owning it. I still own it. That's all I got to say about that. So that is the end of this week's episode. A longer one than usual, which is good. Next week is the big week. Next week is San Diego Comic-Con week. There might be some announcements. At least I know the Red Sonja trailer. We'll talk about that a little bit next week. And it's Barbieheimer day as well, week as well. I'm contemplating doing a Barbieheimer thing this upcoming weekend. So we'll see if I will do that. So if I do indeed do that case, I will probably be doing the my reviews of those movies on the next week's show. Now, I have been doing this show on Sundays the last couple of weeks just because it's been a lot easier, because I'm getting really, really tired on Saturdays. Plus, I only see my daughter briefly on Saturdays. So, and I have to get up early usually to take her back to camp. I didn't have to this week, but I'm going to next week. I have to pick her up and take her back to camp next week. So I'm going to keep doing my show, I think, on Sundays, which is where it originally started out 10 years ago. And I'll probably keep doing it even when she comes back for good in mid-August, until football season starts. And then I'll probably go back to Saturday Night Live, Saturday night at that time, because I want to watch my football team when football starts. Speaking of which, July 28th is when Ravens training camp opens up. So that's good. So that's not this week, but it's coming up. It's next week. So here we are. We've got 15 days left in July, 31 days left in August. So 46 days left in basically meteorological summer. Once September hits, hopefully I will metamorphosize into Dylan Autumn. So we'll see what happens. So next week, San Diego Comic-Con discussions, Barbieheimer potential discussions. And I don't know if there's anything else, and we'll keep you up to date on what's going on with SAG-AFTRA, WGA strikes, and if UPS strikes, and everything that's going on. So see you. I am going to declare right now, I'll see you next Sunday, which makes that 7 days, the 24th of July. I'll see you then. Have a good week, and do Barbieheimer. Absolutely. Go see both. Both film companies, both production teams, both directors, both actors, and all the actors and actresses are digging this whole Barbieheimer stuff, and it's totally worth it. So check it out, and we'll discuss potentially next week.